Hey there, thanks for joining me today. This is Laura Lynn with Keep Inking Up. I'm an independent demonstrator for Stampin Up in San Antonio, Texas, and today I want to talk about our ink refills. You may have remember in a previous video I noticed that my gorgeous grape ink pad seemed a little bit dry, so I needed to re-ink it. So I thought while I'm re-inking it, I'd go ahead and talk a little bit about our ink refills. What I suggest is every time that you purchase a stamp pad that you always get the corresponding ink refill for it. That way, whenever you do need to refresh your ink pad, you have your ink ready to go. You don't want to have to wait to order and receive the ink refill to keep stamping with your ink pad. So I like to, every time I order an ink pad, I always go ahead and order the refill with it. That way I have it whenever I need to refresh my ink pad. So to refresh my ink pad, I'm going to open it up. And I'm going to use a couple of drops, spread a couple of drops across the ink pad. Doesn't take very much. And then I take a plastic spoon and spread the ink all over. I spread it really well, and I usually go across it both directions, so I spread the ink out nice and evenly. And I just will wash this off and I'll reuse the spoon over and over again. But now the ink pad is ready to go. I'm gonna go ahead and close that up so I don't make a mess. But I did want to talk a little bit more about the refill and its benefits. You might notice that on the top I put a little piece of cardstock, the gorgeous grape cardstock that I punched out with just a regular hole punch, and I glued it to the top. That way when I'm looking at my bottles I can easily recognize the colors from far away. My aging eyes don't do so well, and sometimes it's hard for me to read things, especially when it's far away. But so that little tip helps me to identify the ink refill from the top. But I wanted to talk about a couple of different ways that I use the ink refill besides just refilling my ink pad. And one of the ways is that I put it in one of our Stampin Spritzers. What I did is I put about, I think I put maybe 10 drops, and then filled about 3/4 of the way full with the with rubbing alcohol. I believe I used 50%, maybe 70% rubbing alcohol. That way it'll dry really fast. And I just shook it up so the color is nicely distributed through that rubbing alcohol. And now I can spritz this. This does get messy. I should have, you know what, I'm going to grab a piece of paper here. I'm going to spritz this. Oops. Which is one look that you can do, or you can unscrew this and then just tap it to get some larger dots. So that is one way that you can use your spritzer. It's another way. Oh my goodness, I made a big old mess of that, didn't I? I'll clean that up. So that's not one way of using the ink refill. I'm going to go ahead and keep that there while I show you the other ways. Another way is using a clear block. I'm going to add some ink refill to a clear block. Any block will do. I'm just going to put one drop. A little bit will go a long way. And now I can take an aqua painter that's just filled with water. You could use this with rubbing alcohol. Let me get it started here. So I've got water, and I can pick that up and do watercolor. Watercolor with the ink refill, and I'm just going to go ahead and clean off that tip. You could also do that with your Wink of Stella. I forgot to bring that over to show, but you could use your Wink of Stella and dab it in the refill as well, and that way you can color with glitter. But another way that you can do that is with our shimmer paints. So I have our Champagne Mist Shimmer Paint. Sometimes I forget about this. I'm going to shake it up really well to get the shimmer all throughout the paint. And I have my drop of refill there. And I'm going to take a little bit of the Champagne Mist Shimmer Paint, put a teensy little bit, a little too much, on the same clear block. And now I can take that same aqua painter and mix that up. And now I can paint with, now I have my own glitter. Shimmery watercolor. Isn't that pretty? But like I said, you could do the same thing with a Wink of Stella. And again, I'm just going to keep wiping this until all of the glitter and water is clear. You might want to designate an aqua painter specifically for any kind of glitter use so it doesn't mix with anything. So those are a bunch of different ways that you can use your ink refill. So anyway, like I said, I always recommend that whenever you order an ink pad, go ahead and get the corresponding ink refill in the same order. That way you have it ready to go for all of your ways that you can use it. So thanks again so much for watching. I hope you learned something about the ink refills, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.